Hi there everyone, it is currently the 3rd of December 2011. Today's update, we're going to start off here just northwest of Australia and southwest of Indonesia. We're looking at an area of low pressure spinning off here and pushing south just southwest of Sumatra right in here. It is really kind of slowly defined here on the infrared imagery. You can kind of see that spiral right around about 10 degrees south as this moves off towards the southwest with the easterlies here. And this is bringing the potential for some very weak tropical cyclone development here over the next coming days. Good news, it doesn't look like it's going to impact any major land masses here as it drifts away, but extending off of that, you are seeing some heavy rainfall across much of Indonesia and even out towards the southern portions of Malaysia and Borneo as well. We'll dive a little bit more into that in a second, but let's look at the center of the circulation and the potential for development with this. And as we zoom a little bit closer into this, you notice all these lines of these cirrus cloud tops being sheared off towards the north here. Well, that is due to a high amount of vertical wind shear off towards the north here. And if we pull up the map, seeing about 50 to 40 knots off here along the northern periphery, extending from Indonesia off here and towards the northern Indian Ocean. But here towards the south, once you get about 10 to 15 degrees south, you see that shear really begin to back off, and that's going to produce these favorable conditions for development. And really, the center of circulation with this system right now is right in here. You see these higher cumulonimbus cloud tops? Well, that's where that center is starting to form around here. And if we looked at the satellite loop there, it did show that center of circulation to form up and gain that strength. So with that shear off towards the north, you do see that inflow coming in from the south. And really, you got to remember, this is in the southern hemisphere, so storms spin clockwise down here as opposed to counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere with the cyclonic circulation. So with that flow coming in from the south, you see that cyclonic circulation going around the system. And once it gets south, about 10 degrees right in here, that Coriolis starts to act more on it, and that's what's expected with that slow development. But there is a lot of dry here down towards the southern periphery. That's going to get advected into the system as well, so that could hold off the development a little bit. But let's look at one of the models, and particularly the outlook on this system, and it does start it off just southwest of Indonesia here on Saturday. But then as we work through the weekend into Monday, you start to see it slowly form up here. As I already noted, that dry air, just that dry air just down here towards the south, kind of getting worked into that system. But then as we go on to Monday into Tuesday, it really starts to get sheared off as an upper level trough comes through and pushes it off towards the southeast. And really Western Australia could see some rainfall from it, but it looks like at this time, at least this particular model, not really expecting too much significant development with it. And that's mainly due to the high amount of vertical wind shear it starts to encounter as it gets hit up by that upper level trough, and also dry air getting infected into it behind it with the incoming high pressure. But this is looking at the streamlined outlook from NOCAP. You do want to follow the overall background flow with this. See that circulation here just southwest of Indonesia? It is expected to pull off here towards the southwest, and once it hits the westerlies down here, should get shot off here towards the east, affecting Western Australia. So really, I don't think we're going to be seeing high winds with this, but there is a potential for some pretty significant rainfall, even as far south as Perth as this moves onshore. And of course, we'll keep you informed here on the development with that system in the coming days. But looking off with the weather that is immediately affecting you here in Australia, Central Australia, really starting to see some severe thunderstorms push off here towards the east. This is associated with troughing that's just kind of lingering over the center of the country right now. And also northern Queensland here, you can see these areas, the thunderstorms popping up with a monsoonal trough that's been kind of lingering there over the past week, and actually been seeing some severe storms just west of Cairns here over the past coming days, and expecting that to continue throughout the weekend, particularly in those afternoon to evening hours when the surface heating really starts to trigger up those localized storms. But let's look off here towards the north now, where we are seeing rain over much of Japan today. That's really kind of this drizzle type of rain associated with the warm front here along the northern periphery of this developing low pushing off here towards the northeast. So definitely a bayou type rain. You're really going to see that continue throughout much of the day. But by tomorrow, high pressure starting to push in from the northwest. You can actually see that on here by the stratic cumulus lines forming up here and pushing across the Yellow Sea and into the East China Sea with that cold, drier air, and that's expected over much of Japan, extending down towards Taiwan, and even the northern portions of the Philippines. You're going to be seeing some of this encountering dry, cold air spill out of Siberia. So could see temperatures down below freezing in much of Korea and even most of Japan here as well. But actually, I also do want to mention, though, as we look down here toward the South China Sea and the Philippines, though, you have that extension of that monsoonal trough. If we wrap all the way back around to that original storm we were talking about, that is pulling in moisture here towards the southwest and across much of Malaysia here, the South China Sea, and even out towards the southern portions of the Philippines, seeing some increase in rainfall today. And then as we go out into the early part of next week, we're going to see that rainfall continue to linger out in that area as that monsoonal trough continues to push south. So just quick visualization of how all the weather out here in the western Pacific and even the southern hemisphere is all connected. But lastly, I do want to take a look at the temperatures out here. This is actually the forecast lows for the 4th, that is tomorrow, looking at 0 degrees. That is exactly freezing up there in Seoul as that cold air continues to spill in from the north. -4 out here towards northern China, and even Shanghai here seeing a low of 3 degrees, and in Tokyo a low of 6. So very cold temperatures coming in. Still seeing those low 20s down towards the Philippines. Tropical weather continuing to persist with that monsoonal trough, even as far south as Malaysia, seeing about a low of 22 degrees tomorrow. But that is all for right now, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as usual, please post them in the comment box below. And also, I do want to mention I will be forming up my new channel here in the near future, just showing some of my ventures around the Western Pacific and Japan here over the past several years, and also for time to come here, as I plan on persisting and staying out here in Japan for a few more years. So thanks again for listening, everybody, and have a great day. Bye.